Emotional regulation is it's crime prevention, it's domestic abuse prevention, it's violence prevention, it's addiction to alcohol and drugs and substances and gambling and sex and pornography and everything else that you can become addicted to. It prevents all of those things. It prevents conflict. It prevents procrastination. It prevents obesity. It prevents everything that's negative that is part of the human condition. It prevents childhood abuse and trauma and children growing up into adults that suffer PTSD and CPTSD because of things that their parents, who were completely emotionally fucking dysregulated, have put them through. Partners that experienced untold emotional and physical abuse at the hands of their partner who is emotionally dysregulated. Children who go to schools who experience not only bullying at the hands of other children, because children are emotionally dysregulated by default, but teachers, faculty, so many children suffer at the hands of those members of staff because those members of staff are emotionally dysregulated. You know, the everything in society is weakened and worsened because we have to cater to the lowest quintile. It's always everything that goes wrong. It always boils down to the lowest quintile. We have to we have to suffer and pander to them all the time. It's the lowest intelligence people but the highest aggression. It's those with the lowest emotional regulation that we need to struggle to control and factor and put safety measures in place because of. You know, our children can't go and play as they wish to because of the lowest quintile, because of the most emotionally dysregulated. And for me, if I could change anything within the schooling system on a global scale, it would be that the majority of the lessons that kids are forced to learn would be removed and it would be replaced with things like emotional regulation, psychology, because emotional regulation should be taught from birth. Parents should be the instigators of those lessons. And then when a child enters the schooling system, which I really don't like, but if I could change it, then I would do, and it would make it a hell of a lot better, and it would serve the function of society far better. But I would, from as we call it in Britain, nursery, kindergarten in America, that is when emotional regulation will begin to be taught. Because if you've spent your entire life, all the way through childhood, all the way through adolescence, up into adulthood, being taught the fundamentals, the basics, the advanced, the mastery of emotional regulation, of how to remain logical, of how to remain in the objective reality that we actually live in, to deal with what is instead of what you think is or may happen, that would change everything. That would change the outcomes of so many different things. It would prevent so many different things. And I know this because I've worked with thousands of people now. I've had people come to me that have had binge eating disorders, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, any other kinds of substances, gambling, sex, pornography, prolific cheaters, just everything. Everything that you can think of. People that have got crippling financial problems, people that constantly just build up unmanageable debt, people that have got any different name of eating disorder. I've worked with so many different people with PTSD, people with depression, people with anxiety, all of these different things. And the core of everything that I've done with those people, on one side has been identity and the other side has been emotional regulation. And as soon as you get a secure identity with a purpose and you can regulate your emotions and you get those two things to coalesce, the way that your life improves is fucking unimaginable. Unimaginable. And there's so much of those things that I've helped people with and continue to help with today. My school community is dedicated to this identity and emotional regulation. It's called identity alchemy. It's the mix of those two things. I dedicate my businesses to this. That's why I believe in it that much because I've seen firsthand over and over and over and over and over again how powerful it is when an adult who is dysregulated becomes regulated. I've seen the positive impact that it has, not only in their life from their psychology, from their mental health, but their partners, the quality of the relationship that they have, their children's lives improve, their relationship and connection with their children improves, which means that that child's life is going to be incredibly better than it would have been had that adult not come to me, learned emotional regulation, and become a better person for it. Now, imagine if I wasn't needed. Imagine if the therapists, the counselors, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, for the most part, across the whole world were not needed. If their customer base, their clientele was reduced down to 5% over the next 2 or 3 generations, because 99% of the problems that most people experience in society with mental health is because of the way that they don't regulate themselves and the lifestyle that they choose to live. Those two things are the problem. Those two things are what need to be fixed. Those two things are what I fix with my clients, and the quality of their life hockey sticks within weeks, months. It's in everything. And I went on a tirade like this with her, and she got it. You know, the penal system, prisons are full of people who can't regulate their emotions worth fuck. That would be different. The amount of crime that we would have to deal with as a society would plummet. There is nothing in life that wouldn't be improved by better emotional regulation. And that is the reason why I am so obsessed with it. And that is the reason why both of my businesses that I run right now are dedicated to that obsession. That is the whole purpose of my school community. The outcome of being part of it is so that you come out as a regulated individual with the skills, the core skills that are required in order to be able to not only regulate yourself, but to be able to pass that on to your children, either that you have now or that you are going to have in the future. If you are a parent now, there is no skill more important in your life than being able to regulate your emotions. If you're going to become a parent soon, there is no greater skill that you require before you become a parent than emotional regulation. If you want your child to have the best life that they can, not only whilst they are under your wing and under your roof as a child, but when they have grown and they're an adult and they have their own children. If you want your grandchildren to have the best life that they can, learn to regulate your emotions so that you can teach that skill to your children. Your children can teach it to theirs, and so on and so on. That's it. I could go on about this forever, but I'm not going to. So I'll see you in the next one.